How is everyone doing? Welcome.
How is it going, party peoples? Um, footnote for later, Beaker. I think we all wait. Let's cheers.
Ah,
Cheers over the internet.
glitch
Yes.
cheers, yes.
Glitch cheers. Yes. Glitch. For those of you who don't know, BLACKFLAME has partnered up with Glitch recently. Use code BLACKFLAMEGG at checkout, and they'll hook you up with some stuff. I think. I don't know the details because I'm bad at this part of my
I
job.
think it's like 20% off or something like that on the order.
Hey man, 20% is 20%.
True.
But yeah, I think footnote for later before I got sidetracked right
Good.
off rip. Great, good start. We should come up with like stupid intros when we do start the show. Like right when our beautiful faces come on screen, we should do something choreographed and rehearsed for all the listeners at home. You know?
God. Oh Lord.
I think that's a great idea, and I think Trauma will agree with me. But we'll find out, won't we?
But what though? Like, do you want to sing up a tune? Like,
No, we don't have to sing a tune. I don't know. Like, I feel like every good podcast has some kind of banter. You know, we could have like a prompt for the banter every week. I don't know, man. Don't mind me.
I'm trying. I don't even know what that would be. Like, I'm thinking of the podcasts that I listen to, and they all just like start. There's no. But I
Maybe
mean,
I'm just crazy.
no.
Maybe
But
I'm
I mean,
crazy.
maybe we can be different, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, different isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, man, how was your weekend? How was your fourth? What's been going on?
Fourth was uneventful. We didn't do much. We were gonna go see this like really cool, or it sounded cool, like firework and drone show thing, but Lexus wasn't feeling good, so we just stayed at the house and kind of there was a bunch of fireworks going on around our house, so we just kind of like walked outside and watched those for a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it's fine. I mean, it's 4th of July. It's nothing I haven't seen before, so I wasn't like upset. So yeah, it was all right.
Well, all right then.
How about yours?
Oh, mine was I spent most of it belligerently drunk. And
Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
As we do. As we do.
It was a great time though. I had a good friend of mine in from out of town from Detroit.
The old
He was staying
Detroit.
with another friend of ours, so we had some Detroit action going, and it was great. It was a
Nice.
good time. Yeah, man.
Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I'm sorry for your liver. I hope it's okay.
I'll live. It's fine.
That's what the famous last words of all smart men are. Okay. So, let's see. For those of you who don't know, also everybody welcome. Hi H Stuck, hi Bullet. Welcome to the Sound of Fire podcast. We were going to have a guest today, but we had to cancel. They couldn't make it. Favorite podcast host, what's up, Felipe? So you mentioned, let me see, where is that suggestion at? Crap, I can't find it.
I had mentioned that we should, since we're both professional musicians, the idea was
yes.
to talk about how we balance our professional musician life and our personal lives, and like mental health is kind of in some way related to all that.
Right.
You know, we don't have to get too heavy, obviously, but just talking about strategies that we kind of find ourselves doing to help manage that, because as you know, being a professional musician is really stressful.
It's tough. It's very tough. Yeah, that's actually a great topic that I feel like I won't say doesn't get discussed enough, but is definitely important for people who like, especially coming from people who aren't in that full-time musician realm yet, which for you it's a little different because you teach music for a living. And I work at, I mean, we both work at music stores for a living, I guess, but we're not touring and all that stuff just yet for a living, which is the goal, obviously. But like, as someone,
that's the end game, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think as people who like the opinions of people who are like working their way towards that, it's really important to share how we've kind of handled it thus far and kind of give advice to those possibly not as far along as us.
You know, and it's really interesting because like you mentioned, we both work in music like industry, but not like that industry. We both work in almost like the commercial music part of it, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
and we make our money, we get our bread, and so by all intents and purposes, we're working with music in some capacity. We are getting paid for our services. We're professionals, right?
Right, right.
Um, but even still, like your band and my band, we have experience trying, because that the goal for that is always to make it to the point where it's self-subsisting and supporting us financially, etc. I'd say we're still, it's amateurs, but it's amateur with the intent of being professional, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure.
Like we might not be like touring with I don't know, Ariana Grande, but we're still doing stuff and trying to make the moves so that our band can kind of be a self-subsisting kind of thing.
You see, you keep saying self-subsisting. Is that a word?
Uh, are we gonna do this again? Where I think I made up a word? On
Yes.
the show?
I feel like at this point it's a weekly segment because I'm pretty sure it's happened every time.
How? All right, I'm okay with the weekly made-up Anthony word. Honestly, like that's fine.
Self-sub. Oh, I have a freaking subsisting. Oh my
Subsisting.
god!
Am I 3 for 3?
You're 3
at
for
this point?
subsisting is independently of anything external to itself. What the fuck, dude? Like I'm
I don't
okay
know
with
what
it
you want
because
from me, man.
I'm okay with it because I'm learning new words, but if I were to say that, I would say self-sustaining. But yeah,
All I do is make up words, dude. Like, don't feel bad. It's part of my charm. I'm guessing, I'm grasping at straws, and I'm coin flipping my way through life. That's how that goes.
I feel like that's how it happens after like 22. It's just like, what am I doing today?
Right.
Okay. It's
sometimes
it's between paying rent or falling into a pit of self-dread. So hopefully paying rent is the better
hopefully we're
option.
just paying the rent, right?
Yeah.
Let's explore that. Let's get real for a second, right?
Yeah, I
I know
mean,
you're being exaggerative, but like there's a lot of negative feelings that come with the professional music thing, like in
yeah,
some capacity, right? Everyone's gonna get hit with the imposter syndrome at some point,
of
or with
course.
the just the self-doubt and the negativity if things aren't happening or manifesting. And we're talking about this as musicians, but I feel like any content creator kind of relates to this, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, like I mean, it happens to me a lot. So I've been fortunate enough to be in my band, Doubting Thieves, the metal band, and I'm not gonna lie, man. It's funny because we all go through this exaggerative, exactly trauma. We all go through this as musicians, but it's weird because I feel like my band, especially, every single one of us just thinks we all suck. But I feel like if you're a good musician, you're not good unless you think you suck. Um, but I always feel like I'm not talented enough to be in the group. Dylan, our vocalist, always feels like he's not talented enough to be in the group. Brandon feels like he's not talented enough to be in the group, which is fucking stupid because he writes all of the music and he is literally the most creative and best guitar player I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's
I
so
feel like
stupid.
there's a linear correlation between like a perceived talent from others and how you view yourself like negatively, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's crazy because I can think of so many people that fit the descriptions for what you described for that guy just now.
Yeah, but and I think that's something that comes with it's weird because I feel like the music gene in the brain is directly linked to the depressed, like, hate yourself piece of the brain. It's like you don't do that without having those two connected. It just doesn't happen. I don't think I've ever met, especially in my metal scene, I don't think I've ever met a musician who wasn't just like, I do great, but I hate myself. Like that kind of
When
thing.
was the
It's
last time you met a good musician who was actually like self-gratified 100% of the way through? You know?
well, that's the thing. It's like I don't think that those exist because I think self-gratifying turns into ego, turns into I'm too good for you, honestly.
Well, and then you can kind of explore. That's why some bands fold, right? It's
Yeah.
like when people like finally come to terms with, oh, I've made it. It's not a guarantee that they're gonna stay humble and that I've made it and I deserve to be here part of things. It's like I made it. That means I'm the shit. Unfortunately, is what that kind of develops into at some point.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right. Yeah. It can be kind of a slipper. I feel like all any of the good musicians who actually respect the craft won't get to that point. Um, because I mean there are plenty of musicians. I mean, just for example, because we talked about them last week, Rush, none of them were like, I'm the best at what I do, and you can't tell me otherwise. I don't think any of them have ever bragged about how good they were at what they do, but they're all incredible at what they do.
100%. Like it's like they struck the right balance, you know,
Right.
of that thing. What so let's talk, like we're talking about this very generally right now. We're talking about a lot of the negatives, but it's not always intrinsically a negative thing, right?
No, of course not.
There, right, and I mean, when we do fall into these kind of pits of negativity, first of all, if you're ever feeling really that debilitated by your mental health, please seek help. Like,
Please.
quick PSA on that, you know, like that's super important to me and to Beaker as well, I'm sure.
Yes, very much
But
so.
get help. There's resources out there. I don't have them on hand. But you know, when you're feeling down, when you're not feeling 100% about whatever it is that you're doing, like what are you doing to get yourself through that and get over that? What are the things that work for you? And I'll share some things that work for me.
Um, I actually I lean on my girlfriend a lot. She's super supportive in this situation. I'm sure you'll probably say the same thing. But I lean on her a lot.
Hmm.
We're both very supportive of each other in our ups and downs. I think that's the only reason, one of the biggest reasons we're together. Um, because I mean, like during high school, there was a lot of big downs for her, and not just like her mental, but like just her surroundings were the downfall part of it, and is what dragged her down. And I helped her a lot through that. And
Sure.
then being being in the creative ring that I am in when it comes to music, like I have a lot of moments of like we should be farther than we are, or like why hasn't anything happened yet, and then I get really down on myself sometimes, and honestly like the biggest things that help me is just her, and just kind of I don't, there's no quick way out of it for me. I just kind of have to wait it out and know things that will get better, but I mean, it's a tough process for sure.
100%. I mean, it's really interesting to me that you pointed out the I'm not further or as far along as I think I should be, right?
Mhm.
Because so many people fall into that trap that
Mhm.
they have to have made it by a certain point, or that they've worked so hard. Why haven't things gone out this way? Whatever. Every band's experienced it. You've experienced it. My band's experienced it. I've experienced it. Like, it's so easy to get caught in that. And I think part of it is that when you're in a band and you're creating content and you're trying to promote a brand, which is functionally what a band becomes after a while, right? You have to be so plugged in to your local music scene, or
Mhm.
to marketing resources, or to all these different things, and all the, like, you're monitoring engagement for posts, and you're, oh, I've got to make sure I'm posting at the right time of day, and I'm, oh, did I post on reels, or should I post this as an
Yeah.
IGTV?
Right.
Like, there's so much shit that comes with it, right? With trying to really make it as a musician in days, day and age, right?
Right.
Where you're not just a musician anymore. You're a brand manager, you're a social media manager, you're doing like marketing research. There's so much rolled into it that the term professional musician, when you haven't made it, kind of implies a lot more work than you would really think at first glance. And we kind of get into this thing and we might not fully be cognizant of that at first. I sure wasn't when I joined my most recent band and in other musical ventures. I didn't realize how much I had to really do it, even with streaming. You know, like
Yeah, of course.
this isn't super specific and exclusive to music. This can apply to so many different things that people get into in the creative side of things.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely more than people think it is. Like, if you're not a musician, you have no clue. And this is it, like you said, it kind of goes in, like the same vein as content creation as well. Like, I feel like people who see, um, I was gonna say Tim the Tap Man, but he streams and then his team does everything else. So like, he makes shit ton of money, and at this point, he doesn't have to do a lot of work. But back when he was growing, I mean, it's YouTube content creation, editing, Twitch stuff, and now there's even more social media platforms, like you said, that you have to worry about. Like, at this point, I've heard so many people say if you're not uploading to TikTok, you won't make it on Twitch because it's so oversaturated. Like, it's almost like you have to have a viral TikTok now to even get any viewers, or like if you already don't have one, a community on Twitch. It's crazy. And there's so many other places, like you said, YouTube Reels, Instagram store, IGTV, like all those things. It's almost like there's too many places to where just the small, like I need to put something here becomes more overwhelming than anything else.
Yeah, you get lost in the. I don't use this term that way. You get lost in the sauce, where it's like let's assume that like the music you're creating is like a nice ribeye steak, right?
Right.
And that's what you're selling is a nice ribeye steak.
Right.
But you're like, man, I've got this sauce, and the sauce is your social media promotion and your whatever, right? And you've got to put sauce on your steak because your steakhouse requires you to put sauce on your steak. And then the problem is that you're putting your sauce on your steak, and you're like, man, my sauce doesn't look as good as that guy's sauce. Or what about they've got two sauces? What the fuck? Why do I only have one? I've gotten on way too long with
No,
this.
the thing that I hate is that it's spot on. It's like it's not
Yeah.
it's not that it's derivative at all. It's too correct. Like you look at the next guy's table and you're like, hold on, he has potatoes and gravy and A1 and a Wagyu. Why am I just stuck with a tri-tip and like, what's the Stubbs barbecue sauce?
I'm so glad that I'm eating right now because I would be so hungry if I wasn't.
We just had barbecue right before this, so I'm straight chilling right now. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, so when I come to Texas, you're gonna take me to the good Texas barbecue spots, right? That's what's happening.
Yes, we can. Honestly, it depends on where you are. Like, so we're in College Station, and it took us a while to find one, a really good Chinese place, and two, a really good barbecue place, because we went to this one barbecue place called C&J. Look at the beautiful glitch shaker. I know, bro. It's good. I tried to make it cold before I got here, but I didn't have that long. So there's this one place called C&J Barbecue, and it was really just like your straight up barbecue. You get a plate that comes with either brisket, sausage, or like turkey or whatever the hell it is, with a side that's usually coleslaw and potato salad or mac and cheese or whatever. It was very straightforward. It wasn't bland, but it wasn't amazing. It didn't blow me out of the water. But we did find this place called Boomtown Barbecue. And honestly, that place looks more like a fast food chain than any of the barbecue place I've seen. And we had ribs tonight. It's literally some of the best ribs I've ever had in my life. They're so good.
God bless. That sounds great, dude.
Yeah, like we went on a food tangent here for a second, but
No, that's fine. We
What?
needed to go on that food. That needed to happen, you know.
yeah, we're fine.
So you were saying that you lean on your girlfriend a lot, or that you guys lean on each other and you support each other. That's a better
Right.
way to say that. I found that for me, it's like I can't lean on my significant other about this because it's so bad. It's to the point that even when they try to offer me words of encouragement, I'm like, no, you have to make me feel better. It's
Oh
just this
no,
really
for sure.
awful vicious cycle, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely sometimes like it'll be that and she'll really try her best, and I know it's all coming from the best place possible and she only wants me to be happy, but
Shout out
sometimes like
Alexis, real quick.
shout out Lexus, yes, of course. Um Sometimes it's just like I don't it's like I want it but I don't. It's like I want you to pay attention to me, but I don't care to look at you. Like it's this stupid thing where you're so pissed off and like upset at yourself and the world for almost no reason. Where you're just like, pay attention to me, but I'm not gonna let you give me words of encouragement. It's just it sucks. It's a really tough place.
I honestly one of the things that I find works best for me and consistently is making sure that I give myself time to unplug from all those things that we had mentioned before.
Right.
Also, we'll talk about a different thing. This is a fun story, but I'll save it for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm working on music, for example, I wrote music with my band for the first time since the quarantine this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and everything felt really good and the whole process was really really smooth. But we had not worked on music together for 19 months
Oof.
because our relationships with each other had gotten so strained also.
Right.
Because we were putting so much pressure on ourselves and it was to the point where we wrote music and we had a huge catalog of songs written, and we all thought they were great, and we were demoing them out, and we were just so at each other's throats after 3 months of ear fatigue on like the same 4 songs, and just nothing, like we there was such a plateauing in terms of what we felt was good progress on the music, and we were setting this expectation for ourselves where we just hated each other.
Yeah.
We did not want to talk to each other. We didn't want, much less be in the room listening to each other give creative opinions.
Yeah.
So we, without really talking about it, we just all dropped the project.
Huh.
We all like universally said, nope, not right now, and we didn't touch it because we could have gotten together during the pandemic and worn masks or whatever.
Right.
But the pandemic was a really great reset for all of us, I feel, because we all were able to reassess like whether or not we really wanted to do this, and when we decided we did want to do this, what we wanted to be different from the last time we worked on the project together.
Right. Yeah. We kind of are actually recovering. My band Doubting Thieves is recovering from that kind of exact same thing, but for different reasons. So during quarantine, like actually the week quarantine started last year, April, I think it was April 14th, 2020 was when like the official quarantine happened. Our guitarist
Right, I
moved,
think so.
yeah, our guitarist moved in with me and Lexus. So yeah, and it was a whole thing. It was like, are they gonna let you like leave your town? Like that's what the whole thing was. Like we were really worried about it, because we had planned it for so long. And so Brandon got here, and everything. The whole transition was fine. He literally moved basically all of his shit in one trip just because he had so little.
Nice.
Yeah, all he pretty much moved was guitars, audio gear, and like a bed. That was basically it, and like some clothes. So he got here and everything was fine. And then, obviously he was with us throughout the whole quarantine. Dylan, our vocalist, was in Austin. But that was fine. We basically started as an internet band anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. Um, and so Brandon moved to this. We moved to College Station. So like that whole separation of not talking to each other or writing with each other for, whatever he said, 13 months or something like that. Um, it wasn't a thing for us, but as soon as Brandon left, because he moved back home after living with us, just because he was so broke all the time, like he couldn't find a decent paying job, which I totally understand. Um, that really sucked because after he left, there was some disconnect in communication. I won't get super into it, but basically, we all just kind of ghosted each other and stopped talking. Like the whole band stopped talking for a while, and then Dylan every once in a while would message like, "Hey, what songs do y'all want to go into the studio with?" No one would reply, and then like there was just shade happening.
Wow.
It was really rough for a bit, and there was just shade happening on every avenue between all three of us, like separately, um, until finally we all like started texting in the group chat, just like calling each other out on bullshit, and just fucking squashed it right there. And like Dylan, I said something to Dylan. He was like, "You really want to do this? Like here?" And he was like, "You don't want to text me privately?" He's like, "All right, fuck it, let's go." And so we just kind of went at it for a bit. And now everything is mostly fine. I'm talking to Dylan a lot more, which is good. Brandon's talking to us a lot more, which is good. And we're actually like planning out a possible revival of the band because we've been silent. We were silent on social media. We didn't post anything for like our song Dark Clouds came out. Shit, I don't even know when it came out. But I mean, we went months without saying anything on social media until Dylan, like after we started all talking again, Dylan posted a picture of us when we were in the studio. We were in San Antonio just doing the river walk and stuff. And we took a
Right.
group picture and he posted it on our Instagram. And he was like, the boys in San Antonio circa 29 or Christmas in San Antonio circa 2019. And like, we just got comments like, "Holy shit, they're alive. Like, what's going on?" Like all this stuff. And we were like, sorry, but we had to figure it out. Because we were really bummed. Sorry, I've been talking for a while, but
No, you're fine, dude.
we
Go ahead.
were really bummed because like we were doing promotion on our music, and actually Dark Clouds has the vocalist of one of the bands that I featured on this podcast, Volumes. We have a feature from him, and it flopped, like completely flopped.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, like our song Isolation got put on a Spotify playlist and is like at like 27 plus thousand listens on Spotify.
Okay.
But like we put out the Come Down after that, which is our collective favorite song, which actually came out a year ago yesterday, I think. And the music video, which is,
Happy anniversary.
yeah, thanks. I love that video. I love that song. Um, that one did okay. Didn't get picked up for a Spotify playlist, which really confused us. And then Dark Clouds didn't get picked up for a Spotify playlist, which really confused us because we had Michael Barr on it. And it's a good song, so we were like, this has to get picked up, and it didn't. So that really depressed us. And then it just did terrible for on YouTube, Spotify, everything. So we were like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing as a band? Like, why are we doing this still? And so,
Right.
you know, we kind of just stopped when it comes to social media. Brandon was working on Notions, this other band who y'all should check out if you don't know. They're freaking sick. Until finally, like I said, we squashed all that bullshit, and Brandon was like, if we're gonna do this right and take our time and not rush anything and put the money we need to in promotion when we're about to release a song, like do everything correctly instead of just putting shit out and expecting it to blow up, then I'm down. And we're like, all right, cool. That's what it takes, and we're good. So now it's just like we're figuring out what's the next song that we want to record, where we're gonna go to record, like when it's all gonna happen. So it's like we went from nothing to not everything, but like slowly bringing everything back and planning and stuff.
And it's just kind of the gradual easing back into it, you know, the proverbial wading it back into
Right.
that water. Because when it's great, it's great. But when things get choppy, and like you said, you guys were literally ghosting each other, like it's really hard to consciously put yourself back into that with that, knowing that that possibility of that happening again exists.
Exactly.
You know?
It's Donatello. What's up, homie? Welcome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for dropping by. Like, it's really important that people realize that, like, when you're doing any kind of professional music endeavor with other people, you're going to have disagreements at some point
Of
about
course.
something. It's
course.
inevitable. No band is perfect, right? And those moments really do define whether or not the project is going to have a long livelihood.
Right.
Because if you can't work that shit out, how's it going to be when there's money involved?
Exactly.
You know?
And I think that honestly, I think that was a really good test for us because like we had small little disagreements and stuff, but nothing that like really tested the band. I think that was a good test for us to see if we could make it through that because it almost was like going too good. And I was like, I'm in a band with some really fucking talented people. We don't have any problems, like all that stuff. And then a shit ton of problems happened. And I was like, oh no, like, what are we gonna do? And then, you know, we're here now and figuring it out. So I think that was super important because like I could see I've lived with Brandon now, obviously, so I don't have to worry about that later on. Dylan is a clean freak, and I am not. So, yeah, so that's going to be the biggest thing, honestly. I think our relationship living together is going to be fine, but I think me, like, leaving a dish in the sink, he's going to be like, bro, listen, you need to figure it out. Like, that's going to be the biggest problem, like, on a tour bus is me, like, leaving shit everywhere.
Dude, y'all are going to be so tired on a tour bus. Who cares?
Oh, my God, man. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, like, because like most metal bands do, or people on I shouldn't even say just metal bands, people who care about when they play live music, we all go hard. Like when we're playing live, we go hard. So yeah, we're gonna be exhausted, and especially when we actually have to play more than one or two shows in a couple of days, it's gonna be interesting to see how we are, like just as tired assholes, just like
right. When you're
pissed
grumpy,
off,
you know?
like tired from like playing a week full of shows, no breaks, and just like want to go to bed.
Dude, when I went on tour 2 years ago, it was hard. It was hard for a few reasons. We went on tour, right? And we rented a 15-person van, a 15-seater van. And it was there were 5 of us in the band at the time. This is before the other guitarist had left. So there were 5 of us in the band. The bass player's girlfriend was our tour manager. The drummer's girlfriend was there to help like just with like logistical things. We had a camera person there. I'm sorry, we had 2 camera people there, one of them being Lil and Cat, my girlfriend, but we weren't dating at the time. Strictly business. And then we had one more. We had 9 people in this 15-seater van that we were driving overnight across state lines with.
Oh my
And we did
gosh.
this for like 9 days.
Yeah.
We wanted to murder each other. like the the second to last, or the second to last, the last night of the tour, actually, we had driven from Louisville, Kentucky to Asbury Park, New Jersey in one night.
Oh,
And we had a show in Asbury Park, New Jersey at 2:30 in the afternoon.
oh my gosh.
And we had just played. Yeah, it was a fucking nightmare. And then that was honestly the climax of the entire trip, because we got into Asbury Park. We rolled our happy little asses into Asbury Park and had nowhere to stay, right?
Oh
And we
man.
rolled in at like 5 in the morning because we didn't have like a couch to crash on or anything of that sort. At 5:30 in the morning, we had sent an email to this company called The Outpost, which The Outpost is they're basically like a marketing arm for companies, but they offer like a place to stay for touring musicians if you email them in advance.
I feel like I've
And
heard of that. I think I've heard of that place
there's a location
or
in
that
Texas,
company.
I'm pretty sure, actually.
Hmm.
So that might be why. But they had another location in Asbury Park where we were, and it just opened. There were no beds, you couldn't sleep, but there were showers. There was like a kitchen so you could make food.
Right.
It was right by the pier. And they responded to us at like 5:30 in the morning. We had emailed them the night before as like a last ditch effort. And they said, "Yeah, you guys can come." And the like when I tell you that the amount of tension that was palpable in that van lifted like the curse of like the 9 evils being expunged, like
Yeah.
everyone breathed the heaviest sigh of relief, and we started talking to each other like people again.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
so nice. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't luxurious, but the fact that we had a place to go take a hot shower and sit on
Yeah.
a couch was just a godsend.
Oh
dude.
yeah, dude. Like, man, people don't freaking realize that when you start touring, 99% of the people aren't gonna have that big ass tour bus with a bathroom and a shower and even with just like uncomfortable ass bunk beds somewhere to sleep.
Mhm.
Most likely, it's going to be like you said, a 15-person van. People are sleeping on the chairs, the
Right.
floor. Someone's taking turns in the passenger seat so they can lean back and be comfortable, semi comfortable. Someone takes turns driving. Most likely, you're getting maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. Like, it's so unbelievably not luxurious that it's not even funny. Like,
It
it's
also smells really bad. It's
yes,
worth
because
mentioning.
and that's the thing. It's like you can't shower. The biggest tip that I got from my buddy Max, who was a touring musician, they weren't doing great. Like they were in the van. They had actually no, sorry, two of their band members were like contractors, so they bought this like shitty bus and they completely redid the inside of it themselves and made it really nice. But that was like the best they got. They had bunks and stuff, so they had it a little better than most people, only because they
Sure.
paid for it and did it themselves. But like, you don't get to take a shower. He told me, he was like, dude, when you start touring, what, like, you need to make a band, or you don't have to make a band account, but so you need to all split the profit or the price of a Planet Fitness $20 membership so that you can go in and like work out if you need to do all that,
Right.
use the massage beds, and then take a shower. That's like the biggest advice I can give you as someone who is touring right
That's
now.
actually brilliant, like, because I've seen people do that like as a suggestion for homeless people, not really related, but basically you're homeless.
I mean,
when you're
kind of
on tour,
related.
so, like,
You have no money. It's all being spent on gas and like anything to
Food.
maybe some food to get you to the next spot. So, I mean, basically, you're living in a van.
we applied for it, but I don't think we got approved for it. But you had the option to there was like Taco Bell was giving away like a $500 gift card for touring bands.
Please.
I think we applied for it, but I don't think we ended up getting it.
I just need one chalupa. Just like, please.
It's just chalupa. Other big suggestion for that thing, right?
Hmm.
Dry shampoo.
Yeah, that's a big one
Dry
too.
shampoo is the big like game changer when you're on tour like that.
Right.
Yeah, man. So it's funny that we kind of started talking about just how the personal
Yeah, just
relationship between
yeah.
band members obviously affects your kind of your relationship with the project, your relationship with your bandmates is all very important. I
Right.
guess is the point of that, all that stuff we've been talking about. But What I have found to be interesting is that I've heard that people pick up neat little habits and ticks when they're in the studio tracking. Do you have anything like that?
Not rehearsing enough to be able to do it in one take.
Okay. All right.
not
Relatable.
being not being prepared enough when I go into the studio and taking way too long to track drums. That's my tick.
All right. I mean, yeah, understandable. No judgment here. You know, I get it. I'm just an anxious wreck in the studio, just consistently so.
Yeah.
What really happens to me a lot is I get so incredibly anxious when I have to track guitars.
Really?
When I'm tracking at home, it doesn't matter. When I'm demoing, it's fine. When I
Yeah.
go to a studio, when I know that I have spent money to be
Yeah.
in a place and my time like is directly correlated to like the time I spend is directly correlated to how much we're spending, I'm a
Yeah.
nervous wreck, right?
I feel that. I feel that a lot.
Sure. It's pretty easy to get your head around. How I deal with it is not healthy at all. I chain smoke cigarettes like a
Yep.
motherfucker when I'm recording in a studio.
Dude. Oh my god, the relation is so there. Like, man, okay, so when we go, Brandon, because he writes everything, he can, like, the only reason he does multiple takes is because we're double tracking guitars or there's weird shit that we add, like little scratches
Right.
and stuff like that. He could do it in one take, most likely. Every once in a while, he'll fuck up and be like, "Oh shit," and then go back and it'll be fine. He doesn't care. But when I'm tracking drums, and it's honestly only when I know I'm unprepared,
Right.
I think about it way too much. I'll be going through a take, and in my head, I'll be like, "Okay, you're almost there. Don't fuck it up." And then I fuck it up, and I have to restart. But like that's the good. And when we were recording the come down, actually, the amount of times that I had to punch in, like into parts that I've already recorded, and then our God bless our freaking engineer Corey, because he's very good at his job and made us sound very
Shout out
very
to
good.
Corey.
Shout out Corey. Dude, I think that the come down is probably 20 different takes of like punching me in like separately, and he just had to like splice them and mend them together to make it sound like one thing.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, so that was the worst it was when I wasn't prepared. Like, because that song, it's not difficult. It's just, I mean, it's kind of hard, but it's just weird. And there's a lot of really weird, like, arm placement stuff, I guess you can say, for a drummer.
The sticking is weird.
Yeah, sticking. Yeah, that's a better way to put it, I guess. But yeah, like, you do 5 takes, and especially as a drummer, you're already exhausted,
Right.
and because there's one part where it's not even difficult, it's just Herta's on the toms just going down, just
Okay.
and that's all it is, but it's really fast. And so like I'd get done with that would be fine, but then going into like the part after that would be like sloppy or maybe a little out of time or whatever. And he'd be like, all right, go from here and then we'll go to here. And you do that so many times, you're just like, bro, this could have been avoided so easily if I would have just practiced. Like, and then you're just like, oh god, here we are. But the good thing is, Brandon and Dylan, like, whenever I'm tracking, they usually go to eat and they're grabbing me something,
Okay.
so I don't have to like watch them just like slowly deteriorate into the couch while I'm just screwing everything up. So that's nice. But yeah, I definitely hate when I take too long, and like you said, how much money you've spent, and like
Right.
the money that's going in. You basically counting by the hour how much money you're wasting. Like,
Right. How much money have I pissed away because I can't play a Herta, right?
mhm.
Like
Yeah,
that
exactly.
becomes the thought process. But yeah, man, like if I don't smoke cigarettes at all normally when I'm at a studio. And I know when I picked this up when I went to a studio in Jersey. Because the engineer kept going out for breaks and I was really nervous. It was also probably the nicest studio I'd ever been in.
Right.
It was a tiny little home, well, not tiny. It was this home studio in Teaneck, New Jersey, and the guy who owned it was the drummer for a funk band called Blood, Sweat, and Tears,
Hmm.
and he had a bunch of really cool stuff in there. Like you would have had a field day. He had a drum vault.
Ooh.
Actually, it
Ooh.
was like our drummer Jordan recorded on a 1968 Slingerland Custom with
Ooh.
like a 24-inch kick and Like it was this hand hammered brass snare from like the
Oh my
70s.
god.
It was incredible, dude. The
That probably
drums
sounded so
were like,
good.
yeah, those drum takes are a thing of beauty. Oh, it was all going into a vintage Neve board that Michael
Oh,
Jackson tracked Thriller on. It
oh
was
my
just
god.
perfect, man. It was
That's
so
so
great.
sick.
Yeah, like I said, nicest studio I've ever been in. So I was like, fuck, I can't be here. And then the engineer went outside and he smoked a cigarette. I said, can I have one of those? And he said, he looked at me weird, but went, sure. And I think I bummed like 8 cigarettes off of him that day.
Yeah, Brandon and I. So Dylan stopped smoking cigarettes, and I actually stopped smoking cigarettes. I'm just using this now to wean myself off of nicotine.
Okay,
But
good for you.
yeah, but I say that, and then like you said, as soon as I go back to the studio, it's just gonna be just a smoke break every 10 minutes. Like I gotta go. I need a break. I need to get out of this room. Like, I will say it's funny when Dylan, our vocalist, is tracking because he's prepared because he's written all the vocal parts, like he knows them. But like, we're probably not gonna go to Corey for reasons. But when we were with
Okay,
Corey,
sure.
like he told him to do some ad lib stuff, and man, just like watching Dylan struggle through just saying nah over and over again, and just it just not being that perfect one for Corey, just over nah, nope, no, like it was the funniest thing ever. I think Brandon got some recorded on his phone, but in what is it? I think it's Come Down. It might be the Come Down, or no, it might be Isamud. Uh, you'll hear him say nah, but that nah took like 20 takes. Because like at first it started out with like, you know, being serious about it, and then it got to the point where we were doing it for so long that it became like a joke, and Dylan was like oh hell no, like just dumb shit like that, and it just turned into us laughing until finally like he got one, did a few more, and Corey was like, all right, fuck this, we're gonna go ahead and just use that one and just let's move on, please.
That's pretty excellent. I love that.
No, it's great. I love watching Dylan track because he's a really good singer. And funny thing enough, like I was watching Corey edit his vocals, and obviously he's using I don't think it was Melodyne. It might have been Melodyne, but like he literally wasn't even adjusting his vocals to like pitch correction. I
Ooh.
was very impressed. Yeah, Dylan came back from like smoking after he had tracked his vocals, and he was like, "How bad was it?" I was like, "Dude, it was fucking good. Like, shut up. It was so good. He barely
There
moved
it
your
is.
vocals. Like, what are you
That's
talking about?"
self-doubt, man.
Oh
There
yeah.
it is.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy that he was able to get such clean takes. Why don't we take this chance to do a quick break, catch up in the chat, see what's
Yes.
going on.
I'm down. Real quick, for those listening on Spotify and for those watching on YouTube, if you missed this podcast, we do it live on Twitch every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's right. So yeah, if you missed it,
I think it's 8 at 9, isn't it?
oh, sorry, yes, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. I forgot we moved it for a second. Yeah, if you want to come check it out live, please do. We love seeing you guys talk in chat. We always do a little segment where we catch up. So that's where we are on Tuesdays. Thank you for listening if you are.
Every Tuesday, rain or shine, because it doesn't matter. We're indoors.
We're indoors.
What's going on, Killalala's?
What's up?
Donatello was here earlier, and
Yeah, that's
God
awesome.
Galaxy said hi. We got all the homies in here. I think that everyone or no one in the chat is going to be affected by Hurricane Elsa. Elsa. I live in this state. I should know what hurricane is happening.
Elsa, and it's the worst name they could have picked because every kid who watched Frozen be like, "Mom, I want to go play with the hurricane." Like,
Ma,
please let me go shake hands with the hurricane and get swept away.
listen, man. It's a Florida thing to have a hurricane party on your patio if you can. So I respect the kids that want to handshake the hurricane. You know, I remember in middle school, I spent Hurricane Wilma actually, which was a big one. I spent Hurricane Wilma on my trampoline, bro. It was a good fucking time because a gust would happen and it would blow us into the pool. It was great. It was so great.
You Florida people are built fucking different, man. Let me just tell you that right now.
Florida man, that's it.
like it's funny because that Florida man, it's always been a meme, but I don't think people realize that how real it was until like 5 years ago, where there's like, oh, they're just crazy. Like, you're all just insane.
You want to know what it is? You want to know why Florida Man exists? Florida actually has the most transparent public criminal record laws in the country. And that's why Florida Man exists, because there are people that just peruse like the recent like arrests and go, what did this guy get arrested for? Oh, he tried to pay for his Wendy's with an alligator. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that crazier shit probably happens in more like rural parts of the country, or like dumb shit, but we
Probably.
don't know about it because we don't have access to their like
Yeah.
bookkeeping for
So I
the
guess
police.
what we should say is thank you, Florida, for providing us with our meme content for 2021 and past years on.
We've got the Guitar Hotel. We'll keep it coming.
God. Oh man.
Anyway, getting back on task here. So we kind of we've talked about a lot of different things. We talked about just ways to manage yourself and like the stressful parts of being a musician, like when you're recording.
Right.
We talked about the insurmountable, endless like list of tasks you have to deal with, like in terms of promotion and stuff, and how that could be drowning and awful. We talked about relations with bandmates. One of the things that we haven't really touched on a whole lot is how everyone needs a break, right? Like
Mhm.
what do you do when what is your tell that you need a break from music? Like whether it's a break from practicing or a break from rehearsal or a break from thinking about writing, whatever. What is your tell that you need to stop? And then when you need to stop, what do you do to kind of refresh? What's your plan?
Um, I think my biggest tell, and it's more of a personal one, that is, I'm a very, my emotions are very visible through me. Like I've been told my entire life that it's very obvious when I'm pissed off or happy or anything in between.
So you wear
Um,
your heart on your sleeve, right?
I do, but I hate that saying, so I wasn't gonna say it. It's just overused and cheesy to me. Sorry, but yeah,
No
that's
problem. I get it.
that's I'm very visual with my emotions, so it becomes very apparent to me and my bandmates. Excuse me, when I'm just over it when it comes to practicing. Oh man, I'm burping.
Sure.
Practicing, writing, playing. I mean, it's honestly, especially for myself, it's very obvious when I just need to stop being behind the kit, when I just can't play anything. Something that I've been able to play for years becomes impossible, and I'm just like, all right, I gotta walk away because I'm getting pissed off about it. Um,
Right.
so it's just a very visual tell for me and everyone around me that I'm not enjoying myself, and that's the biggest thing. Is like when it becomes not enjoyable, you need to stop. Like you have to,
I'm just not having a good time right now.
yeah, you have to be able to know that yourself, and your bandmates, if you're close enough, will be able to know anyway. So when it stops becoming enjoyable, um, is when you need to step back and take a break. And I think that's the most important thing, because the whole reason we do this is because we love it. And when you stop loving it,
Right.
then you need to take a step back, come to terms with that, take a break, go watch some YouTube, some Twitch, go out to eat, go do something to where you can step back and not and kind of get your mind off of everything for a little bit.
100%. You know, we all as musicians, or I like how I say we all as if it's not just you and I talking right now. I know we have listeners. If you're listening to this, you probably care about music.
True.
All of us have that thing that like we love about music, like why we started doing it in the first place. You're not gonna love all of music all of the time,
Of
right?
course, of
You're
course.
not gonna love the practicing to maintain yourself. You're not gonna love the fact that you have to do all these stupid things, right? But it is super important that you like to have that thing to go back to, that love of why you started. I think Donatello literally Donatello
Yeah.
just said that in the
Yeah,
chat.
exactly.
Where if you have your thing that kind of grounds you and, oh, I love this thing for X, Y, and Z, or even if it's just an X, even if it's just one thing, having clear sight of that is a really, really great like grounding method to kind of just reset yourself. And yeah, walking away is also super important. You know, you're not always gonna want to sit there like and do music for 12 hours a day, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
since I've been getting into the producing thing, I'll find myself like I'll be thinking about working on a song or working on a track or a sound design thing all day, right?
Right.
And I'll get in front of the computer, and this literally happened to me a week ago where I was like, man, I'm gonna work on this song. I really like the way it's coming out. I spent 6 hours adjusting the sound design for like a bass and a drop. Like, I was just like, maybe more FM, maybe
Yeah.
more filter, and it was like, what the fuck am I doing, right?
Yeah.
This is like I was so fixated on such a stupid detail, and I was like, this is not what I like. I like the big picture. So then I stopped and spent an hour and I did more arrangement than I had done in the 6 hours I spent working on that stupid bass thing. 'Cause I got so
Right.
caught up, you know?
Yeah, you get stuck on stuff. I think that's actually, like Donatello said, writing is really just spur of the moment for me. Like I'll just get in that groove, and I feel that, but it used to be like that for me actually. It's not anymore. When I was in my first band, like I would literally open my laptop and just open Guitar Pro and just start writing drum parts. Like
Right.
whatever sounded cool, I would just write it. And I was super creative with it, and it just got better and better because I was doing it so much. After that band, like I had so much drums that I just stopped writing them, and I was just using old ones. And there's
Right.
actually, it's funny, there's a song that Doubting Thieves has called Bittersweet. That drum part, I was sitting on that drum part and used it for Doubting Thieves is the third band that I've used that drum part for, and
Uh,
it's the first time anyone's heard it. I was sitting on that drum part for over 4 years.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure there are people like that write something and then don't use it, and then they come back to it like however much later, and they're like, man, this is a banger. I'm glad I've sat on this for
yeah,
this long.
yeah.
You know?
And I was like the first band that I used it for. We were called Earn Your Own. I still love that band name. It's honestly probably my favorite band name that I've had in any of the groups I've been in. Um, so we used it, and I mean our guitarist back then, he was a good guitarist, but like he was very 2010 and 11 metalcore style, like very chuggy, like that
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
brother. Love that.
But yeah, no, but at the time it was very cool for what we were writing. Um, but then I got to my next band that actually found me through Facebook. We ended up settling on the band name Malicious Minds, which I actually really like that one too. We had a really
Mhm.
cool logo made for it and everything. But that one, our guitarist was a freaking psychopath. He like I would go over
Oh,
dude, I would go over to his house to write, and I think we were writing with that drum part that became Bittersweet. And I was like, yeah, man, maybe just like do some like chugs here instead of something crazy. Like it would make more sense rhythmically and for what our vocalists were trying to do, because we had two vocalists. And
mhm.
like literally homeboy would start like twitching, like and like stuttering, and I was like, man, I gotta get out of this real quick. And so I just stopped
Uh,
talking to him, and then eventually everyone just kind of stopped talking to each other, and it fell apart, and I was okay with it. But yeah, multiple times I went over there to write, and any criticism or suggestions I had, he would just be like, I don't know how I like it would just everything would stop, and he would just start freaking out. And I was like, man, you got to learn how to take this, or else you're never gonna find like anyone to work with you. um, and then
yeah, man.
finally, I showed it to Brandon, and I sent it to him, and I'm pretty sure like within a day he sent me almost a full demo, and I was like, okay, sick. And then we sent it to Dylan, and I think in less than an hour he sent us a Snapchat of him like playing the chorus or the song over his Bluetooth speakers and him singing the chorus. And I was like, holy
Okay.
shit, like this is what this song was meant to be. Like it's so good. And so many people who have listened to us since we started are like Bittersweet is my favorite song. And I fucking love that song. It's a really good song. The
Sure.
chorus is super catchy. I'm pretty sure it's the only song we actually have a bridge on, which is funny. Um, but yeah, I don't know how I got here, but I did. I
No,
totally
I mean
forgot.
we were just kind of talking about like putting things down and coming back to them, you know, and that is a big factor, you know. Um, I've been trying to practice a lot of like music in general, but with the guitar specifically, you know.
Yeah.
Um, because I have a fractured bone in my wrist.
Hmm.
And the only way I can fix it is by putting a screw in it. And I'm not about putting a screw in my wrist, you know? Just
Yeah,
something about that does not sound like what I
I feel
want to
that.
do,
I feel
right?
that. I feel that heavy.
So I've spent the last 8 months kind of re-teaching myself right-hand guitar technique, and it has not been fun
Chris
at
made a
all.
good pun in chat, by the way.
Oh, God bless. I just read it. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, screw that, right? Um, I just, but I was committed because I was tired of having wrist pain after I'd play for a certain amount of time. And I started doing that and it was going really well. And I I've reached a plateau in my playing that I had to overcome the way I used to play, like in order to play guitar quickly, right?
Right.
And I can't get through it with the way that I'm playing now. And so my practicing has basically stopped, or has been nowhere near as productive or as consistent as it was. So I've kind of just put down the guitar for a little bit.
Mhm.
When I was streaming last week, and you were there when I picked up my 7 string and I was doing the dumb thing with the house drums. That was the
Right.
first time I like picked up guitar when I wasn't at work in a long time, like
Oh, wow.
probably a solid 2 3 weeks,
Wow.
because like it just doesn't feel good to get stuck, you know.
No,
And it's really
I
easy,
feel you.
it's easy to definitely get back into my own head about that kind of thing when I get stuck. So we're taking a chill pill with the guitar for a little bit, and I'm gonna talk to an orthopedic maybe.
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of goes back to the whole taking a step back thing. Like you have to realize for yourself when that moment
Oh, for
is
sure.
and kind of adjust to that and not necessarily figure out a game plan, but just take it slow. And there's actually a lie that I tell customers at Guitar Center sometimes, which it's only a lie because I'm saying it, but it's true because I've heard other people say it. When I'm like trying to get people to take lessons, and they're like, "I've played for a few years, so I'm not a beginner, but like could I still take lessons?" I'm like, "Absolutely, man." And then I'll go, "I have been playing drums for 11 years." But every once in a while you hit a rut, and I was like, I've purchased like 3 4 packs of lessons separately and just went to lessons just to like get that creativity back, which is only half a lie because I haven't done that, but other people have, so it makes sense.
Dude,
you know
you work in sales. I get it. Okay,
yeah, exactly. I gotta meet some numbers.
we have our quotas, etc.
Uh-huh.
And me.
uh
Uh,
Don tell us so much structuring for songs within the shitter for a few years. Yeah, man, it writing songs like from the beginning to end is super difficult. And
Arrangement is such an important skill when you're a songwriter.
yeah,
It's so fucking important, and people don't even realize.
yeah, it's really hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna start a song today, and then you're like, okay, but where do I start? Like, I've made a mistake. Where do I? How do I do this? And actually, that's something that Brandon is really good at doing, which is just kind of like writing a drum pattern out in MIDI, and then he just riffs over it for like an hour until he finds something that he enjoys. Then he hits record, practices it, and then he goes. And I don't understand how he does it, but he does it a lot. And every once in a while, he'll have to just stop. And actually, that's what he did when we were in our Doubting Thieves spout with each other. He just stopped writing for us because I mean, we have like 20 songs that aren't released that we plan to release, and he was just kind of like, I don't need to write more, and I'm not gonna stress myself out because I feel like I need to. So he's just been writing for Notions for the past while.
Oh wow. But yeah, I mean that sucks, but you've got to respect the personal decision, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I do. Like I know we have the material that he doesn't need to be spitting out a song a day for us. Whether it sucks or not, he doesn't need to do it because we've already done that. We've done the song a day thing and found the ones that we like that we think people will actually enjoy listening to. And Dylan actually wrote the first Doubting Thieves vocal demo and sent it to me the other night that he's done in like 6 or 7 months.
Was it badass?
It was fucking good, bro. Like
Oh,
yeah, he sent it to me and I was like, dude, this is gonna be a good fucking pop song. Like, because Doubting Thieves is, we call ourselves pop metal.
Right,
One,
your music, yeah.
yeah, we do it because we don't want to confine ourselves like, oh, you guys aren't heavy anymore, or oh, you guys aren't poppy anymore, which I don't think anybody ever complains about that. They only complain about not being heavy anymore. But we want to be able to put out a pop song and people not be like, you're not playing breakdowns the whole 5 minutes of this. And we're like, yeah, because that's not anything we've ever done.
Imagine growing as a musician.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? It's a crazy concept that
What a concept,
that
bro.
some people just don't understand. And that's one thing I have never been able to wrap my mind around is I don't know if it's different because I'm a musician and a fan, but for some reason fans just love gatekeeping, and they're just like, you can't change. I want the album that you put out 5 years ago and I want it to sound the exact same, but then I'm going to cry about it when it does sound the exact same too.
You know, it's funny is you've obviously talked about how you've experienced this from like fans, right? Like
Right.
people who like that and people like, no, we want ultra brutal breakdowns all the time, right? In my
Right.
band Yardage, we moved away from like being more guitar forward, like bluesy guitar solos, etc. We've taken a lot of that out to go in a more like a more refined pop sound ish
Right.
direction. And people are mad about it. People are like, play the old shit. We're like, no,
No,
we
like
want to.
like I mean, we don't we still love this because we have an EP that has I think 6 songs on it and then 4 singles that we put out since we've been a band. So we don't have a ton of stuff to be like, "Oh, we don't want to play the old stuff" because we do still love our old songs, but like I know for a fact there's a song that it might be the first one we put out after a long break called Sunflower, and
Okay.
it's heavy as shit. It's literally like a 3.5 minute breakdown pretty much the whole time. And
Sick.
then I'm pretty sure the next song we're gonna put out is literally a like a pop top 40 song that like they're complete opposites. So I'm just waiting for people to be like, what the fuck is happening?
Something consistency, right?
Yeah. Like the chorus of Sunflower is literally just and like the thing that I love about that song is so the first chorus is just that and it's all in the downbeat. The second chorus we did on accident and it's on the E. So the first one is da 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 da. The second chorus is da 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 da, and it's on the or the E of every beat. And then the
Oh,
last
I
chorus.
love nerdy music shit.
Oh
Dude.
yeah, it happened totally by accident too. Brandon accidentally moved the guitar file like literally a 16th note forward, and we were like, "Fuck it, let's do it. It sounds cool."
Yeah.
And then the last chorus is septuplets. So it's digga 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 digga, and so it's just faster. It's on the downbeat still, but it changes every single time, and it honestly just gets heavier. And then the next song that we're gonna put out is like fucking singing the whole time.
Do that again for me, please. God, yes, I love it. I love it.
I'll be sure to track that and auto tune it for you.
Please, I need that to be like my gifted sub sound for my own stream.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you can totally clip it and take it.
Let's go. I think I'm gonna.
I
think
won't be
might.
mad. I won't be mad. I'll be honored.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've kind of talked about a good amount of stuff tonight. I think that is a pretty good time to wind things down.
I do believe. I do declare.
I do believe it is the witching hour now. You know,
It is the twitching hour, you say.
the twitching hour. That's way more.
Ah.
That's way more on brand than the witching hour. You did it. Again, thank you guys so much for popping in to listen. Thank you guys for participating. Like we read, even though we might not acknowledge everything you're saying, we're always reading chat, and I'm trying to type replies to some of the funnier things that I'm seeing or some of the more interesting stuff.
Yes.
And Beaker does a really good job with kind of keeping us on track because my mouth will run and it'll run in the opposite direction, and then there'll be no stopping it.
Dude,
you know?
trust me. I as much as I would appreciate and love you guys talking chat, and I hate that we kind of can't like talk to you guys because we have to keep this conversation.
It just breaks the flow, you know?
Yeah, we have to keep this conversation interesting for people who are listening after the fact. That's why we do our little breaks to kind of catch up to chat. But we love you guys. We appreciate you. We're actually going to raid DJ Spheres. He's streaming right now. He is part of the Black Flame family.
Get it, boy.
Possibly hint at next week, DJ Spheres ? But no guarantees. We're still talking about it. But yeah, so we're gonna raid him. We love you guys very much. Okay, I did it wrong again. Okay, I'm so bad at this. How do you do it? DJS PHERES. Haha! I've done it correctly. I've done it. It's me. I've done it. Okay. So we appreciate you guys being here again. We appreciate you guys being here again for this week. We will see you next week. Go give DJ Spheres all of the love, hugs, and kisses from us. And we will see you guys next week at the exact same time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Goodbye. We love you.